Well, welcome back, everyone. I've taken a couple of weeks off of the podcast, refreshing a whole bunch of content coming up in October, November, and December. Very excited about it. But one thing that I wanted to touch base with you all on, and something that's been on my mind, I was talking to a friend of mine recently. We were talking about the DISC. I mean, if you've listened to this podcast, you know that I talk about the DISC assessment a lot. And the DISC, for those of you who don't know, is a personality assessment, much like Enneagram or a Myers-Briggs. I'm sure you've probably heard of these, leadership personality assessments. The DISC is just a super simple assessment that allows you to be able to understand the communication styles of the people that you're working with. Okay. And so this can be used. I use it actually with my private clients. I have my private clients take the DISC. It allows me to be able to see what type of communicator they are. And then, in contrast, we're able to take a look at who is their perfect client and how should we best message them to their perfect client. Again, at the end of the day, we just want to make sure that when we are messaging to our audience, if you're an executive, if you're a business owner and you're messaging to, your targeted clients and that kind of thing, we want to make sure that the time, effort, and energy that we're putting into our social media posts, our email marketing, our messages that we have on our face-to-face meetings at the chamber meetings or the nonprofit events that we go to and that kind of thing. We want to make sure that those messages are in alignment with what feels good to us, what feels natural and right to say, and what's going to land with our perfect client, our intended audience. Okay. And so, the reason why the DISC is so important is because it allows you the freedom and gives you the opportunity to be able to see, oh, this is how I come off. This is how I best communicate. And oh, this type of person might be my person that I need to be communicating because that's the type of person I really like to work with. So interesting. I was talking with a friend of mine. In fact, she's going to be on the podcast here in a couple of weeks, Katie Gibbons, and she is an S type. And I'm going to talk about the various types here in just a second. But her particular personality type, there's 4 different buckets of the DISC, and her S type is what we call the Steady-Relator. And they fear major change. They fear confrontation. They're people focused, but they can be somewhat introverted, but they are the steady, modest, laid back, calm type of people. So I want you to think about, who that type of person is, in your life, but that's who Katie is. And Katie and I were talking about what types of people does she generally like to work with? And it was so fascinating to see that the C-type personality, the conscientious personalities, those are introvert people. They're more task-oriented. They require a lot of data in order to make decisions. But she appeals to the C personalities and the I personalities. The I's are the influencers. Those are extroverted, people-focused type of people. They're enthusiastic, energetic, sociable, talkative, open. But who she did not like working with, or maybe like is the wrong word, but who she struggles working with are the D type personalities. And the D's are the dominant personalities. All right. These are the people who are extroverted, but they're very task focused. They're very direct, decisive. They can come across very tough and impatient and very demanding as well too. And it's so fascinating because, all of the S's that I've ever talked to, the types of people that they have a hard time relating to are the D's, which are the exact opposites of them. So your Steady-Relators are your introverts, people focused, and your D's are your extroverts and task focused. Okay. So exact opposite type of people. And again, this is so critical because how she messages her business is not necessarily messaged to that extrovert, task-focused, decisive, tough, demanding D-type personality. It's not. Her messaging is really geared towards, people who that she wants to work with, which those are going to be more of the C, S, and I type personalities, which I just find fascinating. So, the reason why we want to go through this exercise and understand the different personality types is because we're not built for everyone, y'all. We're just not. I mean, I'd love to think that I remember back in my people pleasing days that I still have to struggle with now every now and then. But back when I was a a true people pleaser, and I would ebb and flow depending on who the person was that I was in front of, because I'm an ID mix actually, but I so want to be wanted and liked by other people back in the day, that I just would, my words, my vernacular, how I was talking to that person would change depending on their personality type. And anymore, I mean, I've learned to, love the person who I am, and I talk how I talk, and I know that I'm not going to be everybody's cup of tea, and I'm okay with that now. But back in the day, I was not. And so, it's just, again, it's so interesting to note who it is that you're talking to, who is that personality type that is best suited for you, because your messaging is absolutely going to align with that. Now, today, what I wanted to dive into is I want to give you some tangible, actionable steps that you can take in your messaging that is tailor-made for the various personality types. All right. So we're going to talk about the D style first. Okay. Our Ds are our dominant, results focused, very tough decision maker type people. Okay. They desire control. All right. And their strengths are that they're very decisive. These people make decisions very quickly. They buy based on saving time. Okay. They do not want to waste time. They've got the next deal to go, they've got the next deal to go do, and the next thing to go see, and all. They are quick decision makers. If you waste their time, they're going to be pissed off. Okay. So they buy based on saving time. Now, here's the thing. They make quick and goal-oriented decisions. All right. So these are all very critical when it comes to your messaging. So when you're messaging to that D type, you want to show results. You want to be direct and to the point. You want to touch on the high points. They're not going to read a 25-page PDF document. They're not going to do it. They want bullet points. Give it to them quick. Give it to them dirty. That's what they want. They use a very logical approach, and they are not emotional creatures. All right. So if that is a type of person that you are selling to, if you have a super long post on social media that says read more and a 3-minute video, oh my God, you have lost these people. Okay. And especially if you start talking about your feelings and all of that, they're going to check out. So with your D style, again, show results, direct to the point, use a logical approach, and by all means, do not be emotional in your post and in your messaging. Just don't do it. Okay, we're going to talk about the I style next. Our I styles are our influencer personalities. Those are going to be the extroverts, the people-oriented type of people. They love to have fun. They love to have a good time, very energetic, that kind of thing. All right. They desire recognition. That is what they desire more than anything. They want to be recognized. They want to be seen. They want to be visible to you. Their strengths are that they're very enthusiastic. Okay. And they buy based on saving effort. So if you can save them effort, like it's not going to take them as much time, effort, energy, whatever, you've got them. All right. So they buy based on saving effort. Now, they also sell based on testimonies and incentives. All right. That's how you're going to get this person to buy from you as well too. So testimonials are big for them. You want to avoid being too rigid. Again, these are people. All right. They love to have a good time. They love to, have a good energy around something. So if you're being too rigid and too just way to the point, they're going to check out on that as well too. Now they make their decisions pretty fast and intuitively as well too. They're not the type who are going to read the 25-page PDF. They're not necessarily, they can be goal oriented, but they really rely on their gut instincts, that intuition to make decisions. And again, they make decisions pretty fast as well too, much like the D. Okay. So when you're messaging to the I type of a personality, you better be friendly and warm. You better invite these people in by being friendly and warm with your messaging. Again, if you're too rigid and cold, they're out. You want to use a fun approach. You want to focus on the positive and do not use a lot of details. This is where your D's and I's are very similar. They are quick and to the point. They don't want a ton of details. All right. We've got to think high level for these people. All right. Touch on the high points, be direct and to the point, but use that fun approach. That's what you have to do with your I types. Okay. And we're going to talk about our S types. Okay. These are our Steady-Relator type people. They desire more than anything to be approved. They want that, they seek approval. All right. And so if your messaging can align to that, you've got them. Their strengths are, and I love my S's, they are incredible listeners. All right. They buy, based on a relationship. Okay. They are people as well. They might be a little bit more introverted than our I personalities, but they love their relationships. They do. They thrive on that. They're empathy driven. You want to avoid being too pushy with your S-type personalities. They're collaborators by nature. So if you're being too pushy with your product or service, they're out. They are the type of customer that's going to talk to their best friend, talk to their spouse. They're going to talk to people about your product or service. And if you're being too pushy and you're not giving them the time to be able to make those decisions, they're not going to buy from you. Okay. So they make decisions. They're very careful about the decisions that they make. And again, they're very people oriented too. They're going to be talking to everybody that they know to make sure that they're making a good decision. Because why? Because they desire approval. All right. So we need to be thinking about this again in our messaging, be thinking about these words, be thinking about these phrases. Here's how you're going to message to those S types. You're going to use a step-by-step approach. Okay. That's how these people love to see information. So step-by-step approach. So if you have a product or service where, each step requires a different thing, you want to list that out because they want to know about it. Again, no pressure to action. If you pressure them, they are out. All right. You need to give them plenty of time to discuss with their friends and family and that kind of thing. They need that time, and you need to show them the benefits. Our S-type people, they love seeing those testimonials as well too. So you can't get enough testimonials for your S-types. All right. Okay. So now let's move on to our C-type personalities, our conscientious people. They ultimately desire respect. And they're extremely thorough as well, too. These people are very introverted, so they're going to buy based on saving face time. Like if they can make that buying decision without having to have a whole lot of talk and chatter about it, man, they're good, right? Let's see, what else about the C personalities? Avoid being vague. These people are highly analytical. They're very logical in approach as well, too. And they are the types to read the 25-page PDF document. Okay. They are. Whereas your D types are going to be the bullet point version. Your C types are very much, they can't have enough data. They want all of the information that they could possibly consume. And if you're being vague about something, they're going to be out. Why? Well, because they desire respect. They do not want to make a bad decision. That is not in their wheelhouse. So we want to make sure that we're being very clear in our communication, that we're giving them lots of communication for them to make their decisions. Decisions are made unhurried and thoughtful. Much like the S's, the S's are very careful about their decision-making process. Our C-type personalities, if you hurry them, if you push them too far with making a decision quickly, they're going to be out. They're not going to buy from you. They're extraordinarily thoughtful. Why? Again, going back to their main motivator, they want to be respected. All right. So if they're being pushed to make a fast decision and they're not putting the thought behind it, they're not going to buy from you. All right. So then when we go to message to that C-type personality, you want to use data and facts. All right. You've got to list that out because they love it. They want it. They can't get enough of it. You want to leave out the emotion. All right. You want to use proven ideas. Be sure to give them time to think. You've got to be patient with your C-type personalities. They're going to ask a lot of questions. Be prepared for that as well, too. If you primarily sell to a C-type personality, you definitely want to have an FAQ page on your website. You want to be able to address any and all concerns that they may have in order to disarm them for that sale. Okay. So again, using plenty of data and facts, giving them time to think, and be very patient. And again, use those FAQs. All right. So that, my friend, gives you a very quick overview of the words and phrases and things that you need to be thinking about as you're messaging to these various personality types. Now, that being said, I do want to alert you to the fact that I have an incredible free mini course that you can find on my website, actually. So it's called Mastering Your Messaging Using DISC. And I actually go through, I have quick little video snippets going through each personality type in detail, their desires, their strengths, what are they fearful of? And then I give you actually these checklists to be able to make sure that your content that you're putting out into the world are using the words and phrases that we know are going to work with these various personality types. You got to have it. Okay. So I'll have the link in my show notes for the free mini course, but I'm telling you, go take that free mini course and it will shed so much light. If you're wanting to take this a step further as well too, for $85, you can take the DISC assessment yourself. You will get a 24-page report that shows you exactly your specific communication style, how you're going to best communicate with other styles as well. It is such a great learning tool. And for $85, I mean, shoot, just take the assessment and it's such a great learning tool. So I'm going to encourage you to do those two things. Take the DISC. If you want to know more, take the DISC. And I tell you what, if you want to just tip your toe into it and see what DISC is all about, take a look at the free mini course that I have, because I'm telling you, just chock full of information. You're going to learn some good stuff. It's absolutely going to help your messaging. And that's what we're here to do. So that is what we have on this week's show of the Money Making Marketing Podcast. I hope you've enjoyed it. Grab those free resources that I'll have in the show notes, and we will see you next week.